Hi there. Here's my take on the first of the AP review questions over confidence intervals. Again, like I've said many times, make sure you read the entire setup for the question and inspect the data, and then look at both parts of the question, part A and part B, that you need to answer before you begin to write. I'll be honest though, part A has quite a bit. This is a complete question. I haven't left out any of the parts, and that's a good thing I haven't left out any of the parts because part A has an awful lot to do in order to get full credit. So number one, whenever you're building any type of confidence interval or doing any kind of a statistical test, you should explicitly list the conditions and whether or not they are satisfied. So I wish now that I had written down random sample and put a check mark next to it. I don't know if it's specifically an SRS. In the question, it does say that we have a random sample, but I don't know what type of random sample. Maybe it was stratified. I'm not really sure. So what matters is that the sample is random. I should have put a check mark next to that. That would probably be a little better than SRS. So next, the independence condition. There are more than 10 times the sample size, or 10,260 adults in the US. And then looking at n times p hat and n times 1 minus p hat, you should explicitly do that calculation. So definitely 400 and 625, 626, those are both greater than or equal to 10. So the normality condition is satisfied. I can believe that my p-hats are really distributed normally. So very well, I actually showed the work. You could build the interval in the calculator. That would be fine. Here's the sample statistic. Here's the margin, rather the critical value that we use for 95% confidence. There's the 1.960 that we've gotten many times from the inverse norm command. Then here's the standard error, or the standard deviation of the sampling distribution. We've done this calculation a number of times. It would be perfectly fine to do this calculation in your calculator. I'm going to do it once just to review it with you. So you are doing a 1 proportion z interval. So here, the 1,026 adults, notice the sample size is 1,026. So 39% of those want major changes. So before you do this, you'd actually have to find what 39% of 1,026 is. That's 400.14. So I'm going to go ahead and enter it as 400 on my calculator. There we go. The confidence level is 95%. So there we go, there's the 0.36 to the 0.42. Again, I think it's a good idea to show the work. Always interpreted. So we are 95% confident, there's the level, that the population proportion of US adults who favor major changes to the Social Security system. So there's the context about the population parameter that I'm really describing. That parameter is captured. We're 95% confident between the 0.36 and the 0.42. So in addition to that, though, you have to describe what the confidence level means. So basically, it means that this process will be accurate, or will capture the true population proportion 95% of the time if we repeated this multiple times. So I tried to write that carefully. 95% implies that if many confidence intervals were built this way, using random samples of size 1026, 95% of them, 95% of those confidence intervals would capture or contain the population proportion of US adults who want major changes. So in order to answer part B, there are a couple of ways to do it. Notice part B does not explicitly state that you have to use your result from part A. So I first wrote about an answer using that result. So notice that the confidence interval from part A contains 0.42, at least the way that I rounded it. So based on the confidence interval from part A, as many as 42% of US adults might want major changes, which that's more than the 41% indicated by the advocate who want minor or no changes. So if the advocate wants to add up the 30 and the 11% to try to justify not making a lot of changes, well, in fact, that 39% may really in the population be as high as about 42%. So that's something that the advocate should consider. A simpler answer, and at some level a more elegant answer, is also based on this one sample, kind of using the advocate's strategy. 39% want major, 19% want a complete overhaul. So really 58% want serious changes in the system, and that's substantially higher than the 41% found by combining minor and no changes. Something the advocate should think about.